Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Jashana here to talk about some of my favorite books of 2021. Some of these may now be on my favorites of all time, but we'll talk about that at another date. I am still currently in the middle of one book. I don't plan on starting another one before the end of the year. I might, but I imagine that if I do, it wouldn't be finished by the end of the year. And the one that I'm reading right now is a nonfiction, which I am enjoying quite a bit. But when I do my favorites and least favorites, I don't count nonfiction in that. I haven't read enough nonfiction in recent years to warrant a whole video talking about them, but I plan to have that be the case next year, hopefully. I had a lot more 5-star reads this year than I have in recent years. Well, I don't know about a lot more. I feel like a lot more. And then more like in the 4 range. So I'm very happy about that. If I only look at my 5 and 4.75 ratings, there are technically 10 of them, but several are rereads. So taking out the rereads, then we do get into some 4.5 ratings as well. And I have put them in a loose order. This could change depending on my mood, but I will give them to you in order from like least fave up to the most fave. There are 12 books on the list, so let's get into it. Number 12 is Radiance by Grace Draven. I gave this one 4.5. I read it earlier this year, and I just quite enjoyed it. It was a shorter romance, fantasy romance, and it was just pleasant. It was such a pleasant time. Very much a palate cleanser type of book. It's, like I said, it's shorter, and it is technically part of a series, but Leanna, who loves Grace Draven and loves Radiance, advised me not to continue with the series because the next book is not as good at all. So she was like, just treat it like a standalone and then read other Grace Draven works, which I haven't done yet, but I do plan to. But yeah, the romance was just precious, drama-free, which was delightful, and I just really appreciated how, just like I said, pleasant. It was very pleasant. Number 11, also 4.5, Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the second book in the Daevabad trilogy, and I quite enjoyed this one. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, but I liked it better than the final book. Overall, I do enjoy the series, but I don't know that it's one of my favorites necessarily. I liked it a lot, but of all time, I don't think this series would be a fave. But I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the developing relationships, partnerships, etc. that were happening here. So yeah, I don't want to talk about the plot too much anyway, because, it's the middle of a series. But Middle Eastern, Arabian, African-inspired fantasy world, magic, jinn, all that kind of stuff. Another 4.5, and this was very surprising due to the age range of this one. It is a middle grade, T.J. Young and the Orishas by Antoine Bondelet. Yeah, this was so much fun. I've read a lot from Antoine, and I've enjoyed his adult works as well, but this one was just such a fun time. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done, and I definitely plan to continue with the series. It will become more YA as the character ages up, but in this very first book, it definitely feels more middle grade. And it is fantasy based on West African Orishas. Very much a Percy Jackson, Harry Potter vibe to the story. The energy of it, the vibe of it, the tone of it, whatever. But yeah, with West African Orisha magic and mythology and folklore and all of that, really an integral part of the story. Number 9, I do not have a copy of yet because I want to get the special editions. I don't know if are they like Barnes & Noble? I don't know what special editions they are, but I don't want the mass market paperbacks. But that is Mort by Terry Pratchett, another 4.5. This one is kind of shorter, and my first time reading any Terry Pratchett, And oh my God, it was so great. So much fun. The authorial voice is right up my alley. The humor, the sense of humor is just perfection. And I still haven't continued with more Terry Pratchett, but I definitely plan to. This one I do not yet have a regular edition of. I read it as an e-arc from NetGalley, which, oh, I need to update. And I'm holding out to get the paperback, but I do have the Illumicrate editions, and that is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This bitch is huge. Oh my God. And it's so beautiful. These editions, I fucking can't. But yeah, this one I gave 4.5. It was weird because I didn't love it as much as I loved Jade War, but I think it was mostly just because I wished this had been more books. It covers like 20 years, and while I don't think it was done poorly, I do feel like I would have liked it better had this book been broken out into like maybe a final book in this series, this trilogy, and then like a continuation trilogy where we're following the next generation. I think I would have liked that more. So I had some issues with the pacing, but there were some emotional moments. I cried several times, like full on crying. So still one of my faves of the year. This next one was very much a surprise to me. It is a historical fiction that I got somewhere used one time. I don't even remember where. I think it might have been a Thrift Books random purchase, like sometime when they had a sale in the last few years, and I just grabbed some historical fiction. And I really liked it. I gave it 4.75. And that is The Girls at the Kingfisher Club by Genevieve Valentine. It's shorter, but the authorial voice, really enjoyed it. I liked the story as well, and even though it was shorter and we have a lot of characters, we're following one main character, but she has all the sisters, because this is 12 Dancing Swans or something? Is that the thing? It's like a reimagining of that, though. Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so there's like literally 12 sisters, and just being treated very badly, being kept in a cage, essentially literally being kept in their home by their father until he marries them off. And they do not trust his ability to choose good husbands for them. And obviously they don't love the fact that they don't get to choose. And things ensue from there. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I wasn't expecting to hate it. I just had literally no idea. Never heard of this book before in my life. Really, really liked it though. And I want to see if there's more works by this author that I can check out. And then the end of a series that I read this year, Age of Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. This is book 6 of the Legends of the First Empire series, so I'm definitely not going to say anything about the plot other than I thought this was a great conclusion to a series. I cannot wait to start Theft of Swords. I'm reading this world. It's the world of Elon, and I'm reading it totally out of order. I'm reading them just fucking really dumb. I don't know. Like, I could read them in timeline order if this series was fully published, but it's not. So I can't read them in chronological order of the world. So what I'm going to do is just jump to publication order and read the Rayuri Revelations, and then Rayuri Chronicles, and then go to Nolan, finally. Stupid. At any rate, I really liked this series a lot. One of my favorite adult fantasy series. More people need to fucking read Michael J. Sullivan in general, but this is, I think this one also sounds very different from the Rayuria books as far as the general vibe of it. Like, these are epic fantasy, multiple characters we're following over many, many years. Big things, battles, war between the races, and yeah, it's just so great. Very emotional. Very emotional. All of these that I'm talking about now are all 5 stars. I don't know if I've been saying that. I can't remember. But number 4, favorite book of the year, Son of the Storm by Sui Davies Okungbawa. I really, really liked this. It was one that initially, as I was reading it, I was like, okay, cool. It's good. I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't annoyed by anything, but I wasn't super gripped by it necessarily. And as it went on, I just got more and more invested. And by the end, fully bought in. Cannot wait for book 2, which comes out next year. Yeah, it's adult African fantasy, African-inspired fantasy. I don't know how else to describe it. It's epic fantasy. We're following really 3 characters. We have a really pretty intense villain in this story. And the main character, I think, could very easily annoy the main character. I could see him annoying people. I'm surprised he didn't annoy me. He's very naive initially. But I just really enjoyed the character development in this book. Like, if you read it and you liked it, then you know what I'm talking about. And I have several quotes to save from this book, which doesn't often happen with adult fantasy. So yeah, I really enjoyed the writing style as well. This top 5, and especially now this top 3 that I'm about to get into, you know, it could shift a lot depending on what part of the book I'm talking about, what element we're discussing, whatever. But so you might be surprised that number 3 is The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo. I did thoroughly enjoy this. It's very short. This is a Great Gatsby reimagining where all the plot points are there that we have in The Great Gatsby. Like, it's The Great Gatsby. All the same stuff is happening, but we are following Jordan Baker, who is in The Great Gatsby and is very much a side character. In this one, we're following her. She is a Vietnamese adoptee to an aristocratic family. And so we get everything that happens in Great Gatsby, plus some extra scenes of shit that this character, Jordan Baker, was doing. And the authorial voice, oh my God, I loved it. Loved it so much. I cannot wait to reread it because I initially read the ebook. I had NetGalley eArc, and I can't wait to tab this bitch up because, oh my God, just so beautiful. So, hey, yeah, beautiful. But no, genuinely. And she has a new book coming out next year that I'm so fucking jazzed for. So I ended up choosing these top 2 kind of because of the emotional impact. And number 2 is Wrath by John Gwynne, book 4 of the Faithful and the Fallen series. Overall, once it has set in and time has passed since I finished this series, it's probably, it's not in my top 5 favorite book series of all time, I don't think. I don't know, I would have to really look at it. But there were definitely elements of the series, parts of the series that maybe didn't always work super well for me. But I did enjoy every book in the series. And this final book, oh my good God. John Gwynne just does a Here Comes the Cavalry, a fucking epic battle so perfectly for me. It's stupid how perfectly he does both of those things for me and my tastes. I cried. I got so hyped. I just had such a good time reading this final book. Oh my good God. And then this one is also from the Legends of the First Empire series, but this is book 5, the penultimate book in the series, Age of Death by Michael J. Sullivan. So I ended up feeling like I liked this one slightly better than the finale. It was still a great finale, but this one just impacted me emotionally so much more. And what we are doing in this book, I don't want to give plot points away to spoil anything, but where our characters are and what they are doing and new characters that we get introduced to and just what's going on here, I thoroughly enjoyed. I love this type of thing. I will say, without giving any spoilers, it just deals with the mythology of the world. And that's all I'll say. And I just loved it. It was so great to me. And like I said, there were so many emotional moments where I was just holding my breath. Like, what is going to happen? Oh my God. And at this point, obviously, you love these characters. You're almost done with the series. You're 5 books in. So stakes are really high. And yeah, I thought this was really great. So this, I think, would have to be my favorite book that I read this year. But like I said, it's all kind of interchangeable, especially like the top 5. It's kind of like, these are all my favorite of the year, you know? But if I had to pick, I would have to pick Age of Death. So there we go. Those are my top 12 favorite books that I read in 2021. And the list I was talking about before of only the 4.75s and the 5s, I had, first of all, Jade City was on it. Jade War was not on it. Oh, because I think I gave that 4.5 on the reread. At any rate, City of Girls, I read twice in 2021, so that was on the list twice. 5 stars, both times. Who's fucking surprised? And I feel like rereading it again. I also started rereading it when I was getting my tattoo, my second session. So I technically have read it like 2.25 times this year. I love it. If you've read any of these that I talked about today, let me know how you felt about them. Maybe you fucking hated them. Or maybe they were also some of your favorites of the year. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.